Okay, so at the end of last week, Donald Trump sent a letter to Republican organizations saying, stop using the Trump name and the Trump likeness to raise money. And now the RNC in particular has come back and said, no, we have a right to use Donald Trump's likeness as a public figure, and this is First Amendment protected political speech. So, is that true? Who's right? Who's wrong? What is all this? Let's talk about it. I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer, but I'm also a legal and political commentator here on YouTube. If you like that type of content, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything, okay? Here we go. This is a case of an accusation of misappropriation of name or likeness. Importantly, Donald Trump is saying that the RNC does not have permission to use his name or likeness, which are of value, for a purpose to generate money for themselves. All right? He's saying, you don't have my permission to do this. I'm not endorsing you. Donald Trump has been taking all sorts of shots at the Republican establishment as of late. He is moving forward with the Trump platform, even though it's within the Republican Party, and he wants to be in charge of that Republican Party. That much is clear from his CPAC speech, which you can no longer find on YouTube, but you can find on my locals page. That much is clear from his CPAC speech that he wants to be in charge of the Republican Party. He wants to bring the party into a direction and take it over and excise the bad or weak elements from the party. And he's been doing a pretty hefty job of it. So with that, he's telling the party, you don't get to use my name and likeness. Only I get that. And he has a protectable interest in it. So just a brief rundown on this. Yes, you can protect your name and likeness. And there isn't anything you particularly have to do. You don't register your name as a trademark. In fact, you kind of can't. You don't copyright your name because you didn't create it or anything unless you did. I guess that's a different thing. But you have a protectable interest in your right of publicity. It's sometimes called a right of privacy, but it's more appropriately a right of publicity. And that is in the endorsement of something that you don't endorse. Someone's not allowed to run up and say, hey, Nick Rekieta endorses this product if I don't endorse the product. And more importantly, for someone like Donald Trump, whose endorsement is worth hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, no one has a right to say that Donald Trump endorses their product in a real way for an exploitative commercial purpose without his permission. Okay? And that it doesn't just apply to Trump or celebrities. It applies to literally everybody. It's just that celebrities tend to be the target of this thing more than other people. Now, I've got this article from the Digital Media Law Project, and I'll link this down in the description. They've got a full breakdown on how this works. We're going to look at one little piece of it, and I'm going to try and explain it in this situation and talk about the legal issues that are arising here. It's not clear cut, by the way. It's not clear cut. The RNC says that they're engaged in political, protected First Amendment speech. Trump is going to claim that their speech is not political speech, but rather commercial speech. I actually think Trump might be right there, but I don't know that he's going to prevail in this claim. Let's talk about, I don't think this claim is going to go to court, personally. I think that this is a flex move more than a legal maneuver. But you never know. If we get to see a court case on it, it could be really interesting. So here are the elements for a claim of unlawful use of a name or likeness. A plaintiff must establish 3 elements to hold someone liable for unlawful use of name or likeness. First, the use of a protected attribute. This is typically going to be your name and your likeness, your image, your picture, a representation of you and the attributes that you hold. Okay, so a picture of Donald Trump or whatever, that is a likeness. The name is also protected. There are some other things that could be protected, but these are the 2 critical ones. They're inherent characteristics that someone has. It's your name that was given to you and your likeness, which is how you look. And they're also what's immediately recognizable about most people. The overwhelming majority of people are known by their name and their image. For an exploitative purpose, and this is a critical factor in this, the plaintiff must show that the defendant used his name, likeness, or other personal attributes for commercial or other exploitative purposes. Use of someone's name or likeness for news reporting and other expressive purposes, read that as like creative works, is not exploitative, so long as there's a reasonable relationship between the use of the plaintiff's identity and the matter of legitimate public interest. So if you're talking about Donald Trump, of course, you're going to have to say the name Donald Trump, even if it's for a commercial purpose. This video, I'm talking about Donald Trump. I've got his picture in the thumbnail, and it's for a commercial purpose. However, it is not expressly or explicitly commercial. There is a creative element. I'm adding my personal thoughts and opinions into it. We've got art and all sorts of other stuff happening, and we're talking about something that's newsworthy. I am not suggesting through the use of Donald Trump that he endorses my show or this video or anything like that. Were I to create an advertisement that says Donald Trump approves of Rekieta law and it's not an obvious parody or something like that, we'd be treading into this sort of claim for an unlawful use. That's not what's happening here. That is, importantly, what Trump is accusing the RNC of. And to a large extent, he's right. They're using this to generate fundraising dollars. They're using it for an exploitative purpose. Now, whether or not the protections for the political nature of the speech outweigh that exploitative purpose, that's something that'll have to be determined in court if this ever goes there. Those will be some of the facts at issue. And the other facts at issue are going to be around number 3, no consent. Plaintiff must establish that he or she did not give permission for the offending use. So the RNC has said that even as recently as this weekend, which is after Trump's letter, that they have permission from Donald Trump to use the likeness. Now, so they're going to quibble over this idea of consent and whether or not Donald Trump has allowed them the use of the name or likeness. Now, if you have permission to use a name or likeness, that permission is not indefinite. It can be revoked by the right holder, who is Donald Trump, and that would be a potential avenue where Trump says, no, I actually revoked this. You no longer have permission to use my name or likeness, because no one should be bound to endorse something that they don't agree with. And that's a pretty basic understanding of law. I mean, for example, while it would be funny to do this, it's not really, it's not a real thing or a really legal thing to create a legitimate advertisement for like the KKK and have an endorsement from AOC, for example, unless she actually supports the KKK. I don't know if she does, but it would be unlawful for the KKK to create an advertisement suggesting that they were endorsed by AOC without permission to do so, unless it was a parody or creative work. But if they're actually trying to use a commercial or exploitative use of the work for the purposes of endorsement, that's where we get into the unlawful territory. The RNC is definitely doing that. The question in this case is whether or not Donald Trump consented to it, maintains that consent, and then whether or not the political nature of their underlying speech and their fundraising efforts outweighs that commercial exploitative purpose. And that's a really long discussion, fact intensive. We don't have enough facts to determine this. I'm just telling you how the test works out. So hope you enjoyed it. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if you learned something from this or if you have an opinion about it. I would love to hear from you. And until next time, peace. Peace.